Alright, so I'm out here this morning. It's about 30 degrees currently. We just had our first freeze of the season. I didn't have my camera with me when I picked the garden last night, but let me show you some of these pictures that I took of pulling everything off the plants, mainly the peppers and tomatoes. Everything else out here behind me is actually okay. I'm not a big fan of actually covering anything in our garden when we have a frost or freeze. Usually this is the time of the year you need to be making sure you're planting the correct items that will survive this crazy weather here in Texas. So let's check out and see what we got going on behind me here and see how everything turned out. So if you look, you can see there's still frost on the plants themselves. But this is the carrots here, and it will be just fine, as well as this kale. It will survive any frost or freeze very well, as well as the cilantro's okay, the spinach, lettuce, kales, arugula. We got some Chinese cabbage down there on the end. All this will be just fine after this freeze and frost. I mean, you can see even in the grass here, this stuff is frost. This is frost on top of this grass and everywhere else, but we also did freeze last night, so that is what we got going on out here. I did pick all of our peppers, so check out these pictures here of all of our peppers. We picked quite a bit, actually. I think I missed a couple here, but these plants will most definitely be dead after this freeze. We got some Brussels sprouts and more lettuce coming down here. Let's come around this side here and show you. This is our more Brussels sprouts. Oh yeah, and then this broccoli that was being eaten up by a grasshopper that I showed you on the last video. I came out here and it's actually producing broccoli. I'm surprised. I wasn't sure if it was going to make any broccoli, but we are getting some broccoli heads forming on two of the plants here. These are the oldest broccoli plants. Then I've planted some more later in the season here, but you can see the frost all over the plants as well. So we got two broccoli actually growing, and this broccoli will be just fine in this freezing cold weather as well. And then I did have one tomato plant. I planted this very late for a fall tomatoes, later than you should plant for fall tomatoes, but we did get quite a few tomatoes. These were the Sun Gold tomatoes. None of them actually ripened. Here's a couple that was just starting to ripen on the vine, but we picked them all before this freeze, and we'll let them ripen inside. Here's a quick look at our garlic. It'll be just fine as well in this cold weather. One thing I will say is I planted a big row of spinach here. You can see it's covered in frost as well. But I tell you what, this spinach is very slow growing. Even we've had abnormally warmer temperatures for that past couple of months. This stuff really is slow to grow. So I'm not sure. I haven't grown much spinach in the past years. Just a few little plants here and there. But I tell you what, it takes some planning ahead to really grow spinach, because it is a slow one to grow. Hopefully we'll eventually be able to start harvesting that. We got to start harvesting some of this. This is the red Russian kale, actually. It's gotten quite huge because of the warm temperatures, and I haven't actually been out here to pick any of the leaves just yet, but we'll start chopping that down and start eating that pretty soon. Of course, these are the romaine down here. They love this cold weather as well. They'll be just fine. Come around, scroll over here. This is the red sorrel, red vein sorrel. It'll be just fine too. And arugula. And these kale plants right here, I think these were mislabeled. I think these are ornamental kale. So I may move these somewhere else out of the garden, maybe in the front bed, but I believe these are ornamental kale that were mislabeled, and I'm sure you could eat them, but we got plenty of other kales growing out here. And one thing I would recommend you grow if you never have tried it before, it's very tasty, delicious, is this Swiss chard. This is a rainbow chard. Obviously you can see the different colors of chard, but this stuff is very hardy, and it only died one time last year, and we had an extremely cold winter for us here in North Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas, in Zone 8A, if you're not aware of that. But this Swiss chard is very, very hardy, and I've only had it die back 1 year, which was last year. And you can see I got a whole bunch more planted and growing down this row. So this stuff is great. We love this stuff, and it looks great. You could even plant this in your front flower beds and in the front of the house, and this stuff would just look really well. You know, I would even recommend planting kale in your front flower beds. You know, why buy the ornamental kale, as I have done somehow, when you can grow the edible varieties and they look just as good, if not better. Alright, so I'm inside here real quick. I'll just show you. I've already sorted the peppers finally after I harvested them. Over here we've got a nice variety of, these are different bell peppers. The ones that did the best for us this year was the Big Bertha. Usually don't get quite large bell peppers, but these did pretty well this year. And we come down here. These are Poblano peppers. The Poblanos I've always grown have never gotten that quite, not very big compared to what you see in the store, but they do pretty well, and we get plenty of them. All of those were from just one plant as well. I think we had like 2 or 3 bell pepper plants there. And then we come down this way. This is the Habaneros. This is from also one plant. We've been picking these, you know, slowly. It doesn't take much habaneros for some spice, but I went ahead and stripped the plant. As you can see, there's some still not fully ripened on there. And we come over here. This is the banana peppers, pepperoncinis, if you want to call them that. So this is also from one plant. They started really to grow towards the end of this fall season quite well. And then these are some of the tomatoes that we did harvest off of our very late planted tomato plant for the fall. Surprisingly, I wasn't even sure we were going to get any, actually. But in this bowl we got, these are the serranos, and also in here are the jalapeno peppers. So serrano and jalapenos all throughout here. I think the jalapenos are hiding underneath. So those two pepper plants did quite well. The serranos never got very big, but they're got a good kick to them. Then lastly we come over here. These are the ghost peppers. Very, very hot pepper as well. Some of them, these ones unripened, and these are fully ripe. We stripped those also from the plant. So there's just a quick look at our harvest of the garden before our first freeze. Alright, so I'm out here the next day. I just want to show you the day after the frost and freeze is over and everything thaws out. If you look closely, as you can see, the carrots are just fine. The kale is fine. Everything is just okay. Cilantro's good if you're a first-time gardener or new to gardening, or maybe you just have doubts on what will freeze and not freeze. You can see the Swiss chard and the lettuce and everything down here is okay, but if you come this way, you can see the peppers obviously are got some frost damage, and they're dying. I mean, look at the leaves. They've been, you know, all frozen up and will no longer be any good. Alright, so there's just a quick update after our first freeze of the season and what all we've harvested before our first freeze. So hopefully you're planning ahead. Most of the country probably has already had their freeze. We're here in Texas, probably one of the fewer last states to get a freeze, unless you're a little bit further south in California or maybe in Houston area. So thanks for watching. Make it a great day.